What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix. This is a Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. Now, normally it's a 3-minute extravaganza, isn't it? You know, 3 minutes of Impact, 3 minutes of Raw for whatever reason. But because of what happened with Impact Wrestling this week, I felt that this match in particular deserved more than just a 3-minute rant. I felt like it deserved a little review of itself. So I'm going to talk about the Iron Man match between Josh Alexander and TJP for the X Division Championship. An hour-long match. Now, it started on BTI before the Impact, which is on Access TV before Impact starts. And then the finish of the match actually took place in the first kind of 10-15 minutes of Impact. Everybody knows I love Josh Alexander, man crush, and I love TJP actually. They're probably two of my favourite wrestlers in Impact, along with my boy Chris Bay. There's so many great stars in Impact Wrestling, and I, for one, haven't enjoyed the Kenny Omega angle that much. Not just because I'm not a huge fan of Kenny Omega. I just don't think that the whole AEW crossover thing has been good for business. I don't think it's really benefited Impact enough. So for me, I've always thought guys like Josh Alexander are the lifeblood of what Impact Wrestling does. And it does anger me a little bit that fans turn their nose up a little bit at Impact Wrestling these days because of previous TNA stink, or just because they're arrogant and they think, well, it's not big enough for me to pay attention to. Well, your beloved AEW obviously thinks it's big enough that they want to kind of cross-promote. So I think it's worthy of your attention. And it's an excellent 2 hours. This match is very famous and very iconic. Iron Man matches just aren't thrown away willy-nilly. It's one of the last protected things in wrestling, I feel. Everything else has been done to death. Every gimmick match that felt special, ladder matches, Hell in a Cell, steel cages, doesn't matter, you name it. It's been bled to death, really. It's been oversaturated. The Iron Man match never has, and you can truly count on a few hands all the famous Iron Man matches, and particularly the ones that were prevalent. I know that there's been indie promotions that have done them, and there's been matches that have gone longer, but the actual Iron Man gimmick, the Iron Man match, which, as Josh Alexander said after the match, was the true test of a professional wrestler. It's amazing. It really is. And this match lived up to that bill. It was really special. And from somebody who not only trains, but also just loves wrestling, so from a fan's perspective, first and foremost, I have nothing but admiration for these guys and what they've gone out there and achieved tonight. It was great. The storytelling was magnificent. The way the match started was fantastic. You knew you were going to get a lot of technical exchanges and holds, but it never felt like it dragged. I was a bit disappointed. There were a few gaps and a few jumps, obviously, because of the way it was pre-taped and things of that nature. I understand that. That's just, you work with what you have. My only big critique of this match is actually nothing to do with the match. It's the fact that Impact didn't give more of the match time for the main product. There was some great stuff on Impact, as you'll find out in my 3-minute review, which will probably be dropped very soon after this. But I really wanted to talk about this match in an isolated factor. And also to just genuinely not beg, but will people to give Impact Wrestling an opportunity. Because this match is the finest example of it. And honestly, I got so emotionally charged by Josh Alexander's speech afterwards. Now, the match itself, phenomenal. A masterpiece of athleticism. I don't think people realise how tough it is to wrestle properly and full throttle for an hour. I can't do it for 30 minutes. You know, the longest match I ever had, I think, was about 20 minutes long. And that was awful because, you know, I'm not a cardio beast or anything like that. Josh Alexander's gas tank is obviously fabled, and TJP has, you know, been at the top of his game for so long. For them to go out there and show that kind of quality and to uphold the mystique and the passion and the power of what that match means is really special. And the fact that it was done on Impact is so cool. You know, there is this kind of mentality with wrestling now of, you know, oh, every match has got to be 25, 30 minutes. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be. And you think, oh, just get on with it. I never at any point felt like this match was dragging. I never at any point felt like this match should have been cut short or that these guys didn't deserve the time. They've wrestled each other before. I love the fact that TJP said afterwards, it feels like we're destined to do this forever. I hope so. You guys are incredible. And Josh Alexander has been a huge inspiration to me in terms of getting better, losing weight, fitness, things of that nature, and just generally being a nicer person and a good human being. And he stands at the top of the mountain for me in terms of professional wrestling right now. And this match helps cement that legacy. And I have been one of those people who's been out in front about Josh Alexander, as has Kyle, who's been on this podcast as well. It was a phenomenal contest. And Josh Alexander obviously goes 1-0 up, and you're thinking, brilliant. I love this. It wasn't saturated with pinfalls or gimmicks or stupidity. I like the touch of the wrestlers coming out from the locker room to actually get involved and cheer on this match and, really will them to the end of it, because it must take an astonishing amount of mental fortitude to make it to the end of something like this. We all know what it's like when we've been pushed to our absolute limit, and these guys pushed the limits, and that's what it's ironic, really, because the X Division title is all about no limits, and there were no limitations here. This was excellent. What an absolutely historic match. And the really sad thing is, I do feel in some ways, because it happened on Impact and before the Impact, and because so many snobs in wrestling, not just WWE fans, AEW fans, are just as guilty when it comes to this, they're not going to appreciate just how special this match was. This is easily one of the great all-time matches of Impact/TNA. This is one of the all-time great Iron Man matches, in my opinion. Is it up there with Brett and Shawn Michaels? Subjective, isn't it? I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was so well worked. And I'll tell you what got me was the end. Right at the end, TJP, he looks like he's going to be relinquishing the match via submission. He looks like he's going to tap. And this Hail Mary pin where he just kind of leans back and catches Josh Alexander unaware. Boom. And we go to sudden death. Brilliant. Obviously a nod to Brett and Shawn from WrestleMania 12, which is so cool. So, once again, Josh Alexander coming through, showing that Canada's wrestling pedigree is astonishing. And, going into sudden death, obviously Josh Alexander gets the better of him. He needs literally everything. He pulls it all out to put him down. Even the backbreaker across the knee, the powerbomb across the knee, which is just gnarly. That didn't get him. And, eventually he does get him with the finish. And, you just think, wow, I felt like I watched something special. And I love the fact that Impact didn't just show us the match and then get out of Dodge. They had this really special moment backstage of so many people, coming up and celebrating and just enjoying that fact. Scott D'Amore is a fantastic on-screen presence. And obviously I'm going to talk about everything else that happened on Impact, like I say in the 3-minute review, in but a moment. But this video is really just an opportunity to fawn over these guys and just talk about how great they were and ask people to give it their time. You're probably going to be able to find this match, or you should be able to check out quite a large amount of it via their YouTube channel. That's how I watched the before the Impact stuff. That was available on YouTube. So you should be able to watch the bulk of the match on there. Hopefully, it should have a replay. And then you can obviously catch the rest of it on catch up. For all these people who say that they're sick and tired of WWE and the way they treat people and, I want something else. Impact has always been there. And it has always been doing great things. Even when it was pretty bad, there was always something to look forward to, whether it be the X Division or whatever. And it's so cool that this match was all about the X Division title, because that is really the pinnacle of what Impact has always been. And if you think back to everything that was special about TNA and Impact, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, all the incredible influx of talent, the X Division title was always there, front and center. It was always involved. Even when you had bigger stars like Sting and Kurt Angle and Abyss and guys who may not necessarily have been equated to the X Division itself, they still found ways to cross over. Kurt Angle did a miraculous job putting over guys like Jay Lethal and stuff like that, and working hard to make sure that a lot of guys around him looked as credible as he did. And the X Division title was always really in the center of that, and it's also been one of the most innovative titles. It's seen so many different matches spawn from it, and no more than Ultimate X. This was masterful. It was magical. There wasn't really anything wrong with it whatsoever. And like I say, my only critiques are, it's a shame that more of it wasn't on the main product. I think it's time that we get the belt away from Omega. I'm not his biggest fan anyway, but ultimately I think that someone like Josh Alexander represents wrestling, and he represents this company so beautifully, and I think it's time he was given the opportunity. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I just wanted to take some time to talk about the match. It was phenomenal, some amazing spots, but I can't do that justice. There's a few highlights going on behind me, but as far as it's concerned, you need to go and check it out in full and give it your time. If you're out there and you're saying, I'm a big wrestling fan and I'm passionate about something other than WWE, and you don't watch this, frankly, I think you're a bit of a hypocrite. And I think that if you genuinely claim to be a top quality wrestling fan, you will find time to watch this match and find time to consume it. And obviously, if like me, you're a student of the game, or you're that passionate about wrestling and you don't watch it, well, frankly, you're not passionate enough as far as I'm concerned. Make time for it, trust me, and make time and get ready, because guys like Josh Alexander, they are going to be the future of this business. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. I've been Aaron Nix, and I'll catch you very soon for a lot more content from the Wrestle Plug.